Vote for Drew. You can write on your ballot.
If you want pretty women hanging on your shoulders, you vote for Drew Ross.
It sounds like a scene out of Idiocracy.
Pick up your ballot at a local truck stop. Right next to the stickers.
That's right, and the beef jerky. You can get yourself a beef jerky, a pack of smokes, and a ballot.
In between the stickers and the half-naked woman and the beef jerky, there's a ballot right there.
Because this is America.
What's funny is I'm not even a trucker type, but apparently that's who I want to vote for.
At least we know your constituency, right? Like,
hey,
focused.
You said your heart's in Florida.
Yeah, right. See?
Focused PR.
Man.
We know. While most candidates are going to like community squares, like Drew's at all the truck stops.
Truckers, because they can vote in all different states.
Vote early and vote often.
Yeah. I
love your strategy.
You know?
Welcome. I want to welcome you to another episode of Forthright. Glad you could be with us. Again, if you're just joining us, we have a roundtable discussion about questions that you provide to us. You can get a bit of a Christian perspective on some of these issues. Maybe have a conversation with those around you, just to really begin as a primer for the conversation. And hope that you continue it wherever you are, at home, at work, at church, wherever you're going. So if you have a question that you want us to address on a future episode of Forthright, please make sure you let us know. Hashtag ForthrightTV, at ForthrightTV. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or make a comment down below on YouTube, and we will possibly get your question up on a future episode with your little icon and picture and everything else. So look forward to hearing from you for future episodes. We're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves.
I'm Larry McGurr, lead pastor of Salt of the Earth Communities. We're a missional community movement here in the Denver area.
I'm Anthony Creed, the CEO of the Concordia Association, which is the ministry company that puts on Forthright.
Drew Ross, pastor Bethlehem Lutheran Church and School, Lakewood, Colorado.
And gentlemen, the question we are going to address today is one, this doesn't come from anyone specific. This is one that I've gotten from a lot of people, so we just want to address it all as one. It is election time, or approaching election time. When it comes to elections, upon what grounds should a Christian make a decision? And then, second part of the question, is it okay to abstain your vote? So is it okay to just say, I'm not going to vote at all? Okay. If there's like a candidate you don't, or candidates that you don't really want on the slate to vote for, can you abstain? This is another one that's really multifaceted. Sure. Lots of angles you could take on this one. I guess to sort of prime it or get it out there, I am always fearful. I don't know if fearful is the right word. It concerns me when I hear about or talk to one or single issue voters.
Sure.
Right? Because there's so much to politics. And I actually had an encounter once where I was teaching a class, had one person who was very much anti-abortion, right? Which absolutely. And saying, I believe that abortion is wrong, and I believe that it's murder and it's killing innocent lives and things like that. And was very much on a Republican sort of side. Then had a Democrat in the same room who said, well, I believe that sending people to war, an unjust war, right, a war that they didn't believe needed to be fought, that's also taking lives from people and destroying families. And so the issue was death, but one Republican, one Democrat, and both had, I think, within the realm of Christian morality and ethics, had a valid argument.
Sure.
So I don't think it's ever clean, right, to say one way or the other, like, because I'm really just not a fan of the whole assumption that all Christians are Republicans.
No,
and Jesus is not an apple pie eating, AK toting, right, believer. That's not how it works.
Cherry pie, maybe.
Cherry pie, maybe. But that's this whole like close association with Jesus in America, and that really honestly bothers me. Because I think it is inaccurate to the gospel witness of who Jesus is, and that the desire for all people to be saved goes outside of America. So again, a lot, I think, issues and ways that places you could go with this conversation about why do you vote for the people you vote for? Yeah. What are the important issues?
Yeah. Maybe we should pursue looking at the second part of that question, and it'll help us have fuel for thought for the first part. And the second part of the question being, do we feel like a right thing to do is to just abstain from voting? Do we feel that is right? I mean, you just talked about single issue voters not necessarily being most helpful. Is it ever okay to abstain from voting, even if you believe that the two candidates are not people that you would want? And the reason I bring that up is because if there are two candidates that I don't want, I mean, that likely can happen. That likely can happen in a lot of different places for all kinds of different things. And I would not want to vote. Because I don't want to align myself with that person.
Right.
And I don't want to align myself with that person. Neither one of them fit who I am. However, what we have to recognize is that it goes beyond me, and one of those two is going to be the leader of, in this case, let's say, our country.
Right.
And so I have a responsibility to find out who can I vote for and who can I be a part of changing the world with, because one of them is going to be the leader.
Right.
And abstaining from your vote. I just don't know that is that helpful. To abstain your vote. Like, is that pulling the Pontius Pilate?
I think so.
And I'm just going to wash my hands of this.
Right. Right.
Don't look at me.
None of this is my fault. That doesn't work in our own homes, right?
No, right.
And somebody says, "Well, not my fault." Well, hey, you're a part of this family.
Yeah.
So you led towards this in some way, even if the whole time you were saying, enter into the conversation. Enter into it.
I've heard a lot of people, and this will sort of date the video, but I have heard a lot of people who are sort of looking at, what do you do if it's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? And what do you do? There are maybe some things that you disagree with on both sides, different ways to do it. I mean, I think it would be hilarious if we still did it like they used to do it, like when elections, it's where the first, right, the winner is the president,
right on.
The first loser is the vice president. Can you imagine a White House with
Hillary
and Donald?
Assassination, but like it wouldn't come from the outside. It'd just be like one of them. Which one shot first?
Yeah. I think
the real world White House.
You put up cameras over the White House.
Yeah.
It's a sitcom. It's totally a sitcom. Like I can hear a jingle and one of those Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And had like his little name, and Hillary, and then like they're back to back. You know what I mean? It's some opening title scene.
Swords in each one of their backs.
How many times would Donald say to Hillary, "You're fired"?
You're fired. You're fired.
Stop it, Donald. It's not funny anymore.
Add laughter, like a laugh track to it. That would be entertaining. So maybe we're actually on to something. Go ahead. Let's.
We're saying that abstaining from your vote, it doesn't help the world. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the country. It's never okay to wash your hands.
So
enter in.
So to that point, then, what if there's a distant third party candidate, someone who doesn't have a really good chance to win, but you would rather them win than the other two?
If they're in the election,
that I think is fair. Yeah, if they're a legitimate candidate, right? I mean, I've heard people like writing Bugs Bunny on the write-in ballot, and that's not helpful.
Fair enough.
But if you do have a legitimate candidate who you want to support, then I think that falls within the guidelines. I do agree, though. Like you can't just wash your hands of it. And a way that I have tried to look at it is, as a Christian, right? I am always in this kind of relationship with culture and relationship with society. Which candidate is going to give me less work as a Christian, right? So I'm going to have to do some work in one way or another, right? Issues I'm going to have to address, and I have a responsibility to do that as a Christian, as a citizen. But which one is going to give me less work, right? Which one that I can say, well, they both have their issues, but this one has slightly less issues for me to address. So I'm going to go with that one and then continue to work to make society the best possible society it can be as a citizen. And I have a responsibility to do that. So
to help us get there, to know which one's going to have less work, are there any single issues that we do hinge this all on? Or do we need to have 4 issues or what we agree on?
Right.
I'm going back to the beginning part of the question.
Right.
What are the issues that we use to base our vote?
To frame that discussion. Well, I mean, value of human life seems to be a very common one. And I think you can approach it strictly from like value of human life. Not abortion, not war, not whatever, but say value of human life. So looking over the entire structure, I think that can be one. You're looking at situations like, I don't know, what's best. Maybe love your neighbor. Start there.
Okay.
Start
with the greatest commandment.
Let's love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, right? And then love your neighbor as yourself. So, when you're looking at, I think those, I mean, maybe start there, love your neighbor, and look at all of the issues and say which
ones allow me to love my neighbor the most, or do I feel which leader would allow me to do that? Which of these, I mean, it falls under love your neighbor. Which one is going to allow me to focus on providing for the sanctity of life, right?
Sure.
Encouraging the sanctity of life. What others? 'Cause I think we're coming up with a decent list here.
maybe stewardship.
Okay. Well, yeah, because we're talking about, I mean, not only stewardship of our own homes, stewardship of our organizations, but stewardship of our country is a big,
Right, and which would
that's financially responsible.
Right. And maybe even beyond that in terms of stewardship of how do we best relate to foreign nations, right? So when you're looking at foreign policy and things like that, don't look at individual foreign policies, but say, what is the best sort of stewardship of who we are as a nation? And,
Isn't there a biblical perspective there as well? You know, where your money is, there your heart will be also. And so I think it's appropriate to talk about the financial stewardship or well-being of our country actually does have a part to do with our own even faith. Because that rests with where our heart is and where we're trying to serve, okay?
So this one's closely related to sanctity of life, but just justice in general.
Okay.
It's going to promote the justice for all, right?
Right. And maybe to the degree, well, because you have appointed Supreme Court justices, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've even seen that sort of come into play with issues regarding, gay marriage and things like that, where the justices and things that are appointed are directly affecting the way that each state operates and what they're allowed to do. So
and our president shapes what that justice looks like with them.
Yeah. Okay, so justice, which I think is good, stewardship, sanctity of human life,
and our ability to love our
neighbor. That's actually
I think it's a great list.
decent list. I think we've solved it.
You're welcome.
Maybe for the first time we have solved the problem. So here, but I think maybe the main point of that is to say these are sort of umbrella concepts.
Huge umbrella.
And then you have some freedom within each of those.
Or the best way to implement each of those.
Right.
Is it top down, more the government hands-on gets involved in helping us to love our neighbors, or is it more grassroots, allowing individuals the freedom to care for, there's multiple ways that can come about.
Yeah.
And allowing for open dialogue between those on both sides of the fence, in terms of political parties, to allow for a dialogue to happen with those objectives sort of being the primary thing. So so if you're dealing with abortion, war, these kind of, the question you're asking is the value of human life and staying there, like staying right within that realm. Is this the best for human life? Is it valuing human life, or is it devaluing human life? And keeping it there, I think, allows for a more constructive dialogue than maybe just kind of harping on one single issue. And maybe that's a better way to say that in terms of single issue voters, is branch out a little bit in terms of looking at the larger picture of what's going on and have the conversation there. Because you can make a case, I think, for several different candidates on the basis of individual components of that.
Sure.
And sort of allowing some freedom within that.
Good call.
There's that. Wow. That's maybe the cleanest we've ever come through a question yet. We're getting better at this. We should feel good about this. So let's go to our get to know you question. Again, if you want to submit a question for a future conversation at Forthright, please do so. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, #ForthrighTV, @ForthrightTV. You make comments down below there on YouTube, and we will maybe select a question for you to address us in a future episode of Forthright. So let's do a question. Larry, why don't you grab one? Sure. And let us know what it is.
Okay, one movie you could watch over and over and never get tired of.
Well, this is going to be tough for me.
Mine has to be comedy, because I like laughing, and if movies are too deep, I don't get it. So
you don't like the artsy films?
No, come on, that's insane. So no, it has to be funny, and it probably has to be pretty cheap humor. Otherwise, still don't get it. So there are some movies I can think of that are just probably inappropriate.
Who's the heathen now, Drew?
I know. Here's one. It's got some crazy language in it, but I return this old movie quite often. Grumpy Old Men.
Yes.
Grumpy Old Men. That makes me crack up quite a bit. And I can give you some quotes too, but I won't.
But I won't.
Yeah.
I would have to say my go-to, and maybe many of you out there will resonate with this. My go-to has to be The Princess Bride. Love that movie. I never get tired of that movie. It's one of those movies that every time like it's on television and it'll play like TBS or whatever will play, I stop and I watch it, or I'll at least have it on the background. That's a mainstay for me.
That's cute.
It is. It's cute.
That's cute.
I don't know if is that a subtle slam?
I like bridal movies too.
Well, just to bring a little testosterone into this conversation.
I get it. I see where this
I gotta
is going.
go with Rocky.
Rocky,
the
okay.
original. And let's keep in mind here, though, this was a good movie. Best Picture, 1976.
Wow.
Okay.
Here we go.
Right, and there's a fairly decent love story worked in there between Rocky and
So
Adrian.
now you would be into it.
Yeah,
So now you're engaged. So now you're.
Because it's a love story.
But,
I am the hopeless
It's,
romantic.
just a good old.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie, and you know what? You can take your digs at the Rocky series, but
not the original.
the
Not
first
the original.
one. It set up.
I know a lot of people.
More,
I know a lot of people feel that way about The Godfather, like the
yeah.
original, and then take it or leave, kind of 2 or 3. Because there were 3? I think there were 3.
There were additional grumpy old men ones too, just so that you know.
There were grumpier
And
old
they were
men.
all good. Every single one of them.
Yeah, but did your grumpy old men bring peace between the United States and the Soviet
No,
Union?
they
like
did.
Rocky did in Rocky 4.
They did in Wabasha, Minnesota, though. Don't you know?
There was a war.
There was a war between the ice
Don't
fishermen.
you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Wow. So there's that. So let us know. What are your favorite movies? What's a movie that you could watch over and over and over again and never get tired of? Everybody's sort of got their go-to kind of movie. So let us know. Again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, #ForthRightTV, @ForthRightTV. What is that go-to movie for you that you never get tired of? So again, thanks for watching. We'll be back next time with another question, maybe a question from you. So let us know, and we'll see you next time.